Anglefly.
My class went to Anglefly Preserve.
Anglefly, it's a nature preserve.
We went to the Anglefly Preserve.
We went to the Anglefly Preserve.
And we found tadpoles and looked at skunk cabbage. And we saw salamander eggs. And we saw little crayfish and frog poles and salamanders.
You gave us some nets and we caught like some salamanders and tadpoles, and you showed us some of the frog eggs and they were really like squishy.
I had a tadpole and a salamander larva, so I thought the salamander larva was going to eat the tadpole, so I jumped it out.
But it had these little things coming out of it.
We went fishing for some amphibians and it was fun. Salamanders, tadpoles, some frog poles, and some other things.
I can explain a water spider. Like, its legs, it's really thin. It's like a daddy long leg, but a little smaller.
The first 5 minutes, no one caught anything, and everyone said there was nothing in there. And then later on in the trip, everyone was catching like crayfish, tadpole, salamander larva.
I see it. It's right there. It's right there.
I found a June bug, and I found it in the water. I just saw this small thing sitting there, and I wondered what it was. So I just put my scooper in and scooped it out, and it was a June bug. You told us that it was a bad flyer, so maybe it crashed into a tree and fell in the water. But I thought it was dead, but then it came back to life.
We tried to catch some tadpoles and other kinds of fish to see what they look like.
I was walking through trying to catch a tadpole, and then I kind of got stuck in the mud.
The salamanders that we're finding right now are going to turn into this.
We saw something green, so I remember you picked it up and put it in a bucket thing, and me and Morgan were holding it, and we looked inside, and they had like 15 like things that looked like marbles, and it really looked like marbles because they were like mini balls with like colors inside. You said they were a frog egg sac, so we found out that they were wood frogs. I also like the big kind of jelly ball-like thing of eggs from the tadpole. And it was really cool because we actually got to see one of them hatching.
You see those little tiny salamanders in there? There's one.
When are they coming out?
And because it's getting warmer and all the water will evaporate, and then all the water would be gone. And all the animals would be grown up to go on the land. And we saw a beautiful view of a waterfall, and we saw crayfish, and I made a little habitat for it. Like, I pulled some rocks out, and I put a dead leaf in there, and a stick, a little tiny stick, I think was about this big.
Really what I liked was the stream when we were catching crayfish.
I found my crayfish under a deep rock. I had to pick up a rock to find it. I caught a fish and I saw them fighting. I thought I was gonna catch two, but I caught one.
Well, I was down by the little stream or river where Franco was, because he said he had caught a little fish, not a crayfish, where the crayfish were. So I went and I caught, like, it looked like a little cockroach almost, or a beetle. so I rang it, and you said it was a dragonfly larva. The tadpoles, where they live, it only comes out in spring, and where the crayfish lived, it was there the whole year.
I learned that the caddisfly makes its like shell out of leaves. Well, it looked like it was wrapped up in it looked like a hollow stick, except when you looked inside there was a bug inside that looked kind of like a caterpillar.
My favorite part was looking at the caddisfly because I thought that it only made its shell out of leaves, but it really also made it out of rocks. So that was interesting to see.
Well, the crayfish larva was like a little squirmy thing. I had my net in the water just to see if I would catch a crayfish, which I didn't, but it winded up with the crayfish larva. It had these like little ridges and lines on it, as you can see in the picture.
When we were just walking down the trail, you said that maybe if we were lucky we were gonna spot a hawk, but we had to be really quiet. And so when we were walking down the trail, we were really trying to be quiet. And so then up in the tree, some people saw the nest. And at first I couldn't see it, but then I saw it and it started to fly. It took off.
I like the red-tailed hawk nest. That was really interesting.
We're walking in the trail and we saw a big red-tailed hawk nest.
We had to be quiet to look at it. We weren't quiet enough, so the hawk flew away, but everybody still saw the hawk.
Hey guys, come around this way. There's a big black vulture. You can see him really good right here.
We saw a vulture. That was pretty cool. The most interesting animal that I saw was the turkey vulture, because I've never seen one before, and it was really cool.
I didn't know there was vultures in summers.
It was eating a fox.
Well, it had a red neck and head, and the rest of it was black, and it was feeding.
Two of our classmates, they yelled, and we went running up, and we saw the garter snake. And the reason why it was on the road is because it wanted to get sun. The garter snake was on the blacktop, trying to get warm because it's cold-blooded. I learned that the garter snake, all snakes, can smell from their tongue.
Right off the trails, we saw like a tree with a little mark on it, and it looked like an animal or something bit into it.
Well, we turned over a wet, damp log, and there was a bunch of ants and stuff under it, and then we found the salamander.
In the mussel pond, there were live mussels. They were nervous, so their shells were closed, and the dead ones were all cracked and stuff.
When we were hiking near the end of the trail, we came across an owl pellet, and it was sort of brownish and black.
At Anglefly, we moved a log and we found an acorn with a long white root that was growing into a tree. And there were a bunch of ants around it and a lot of dirt. I think the acorn probably got under there by an animal, burying it so that when it wanted to eat it, it could find it.
And we walked through these woods that look exactly like the woods in my backyard.
Favorite part is probably going to, probably just walking around, because I never went in that woods before, and it's kind of cool just looking around and seeing all this stuff. And here in the picture, we were walking and found an old tractor in the woods.
When we were hiking in Anglefly, there was an old farm, like a structure, and there was an old tractor, the remains of an old tractor there, and it was pretty cool to see what it was a long time ago, without TV and robots and stuff.
Okay, you point to it.
It's right there. You see that thing? Right there.
This thing?
Yeah.
You know what? That's a leaf. It looks like a frog.
Now hold that.
Mr. Michael, what is that?
Where? That big rock?
Yeah. It's a rock?
Yeah.
Doesn't look like it.
Going back to school. Yeah, but too bad the fun's over. I'm so thirsty. I want water.